Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling a topic that really requires a ton of empathy and compassion. We're exploring faithful service beyond physical limitations. If you picture a really sturdy, deep rooted tree just standing there in warm sunlight, it's actually a perfect metaphor. Because a tree's real strength isn't just all those green leaves in the spring, it's the deep, unyielding roots that keep it standing through every single harsh season. And let's be real, so many of us, or the people we care about most, eventually hit those winter seasons where our physical strength just wanes. It carries such a heavy emotional weight. Facing physical decline is a universally tough experience, and it is completely normal to feel overwhelmed by it. So today, we're going to break down exactly how we can navigate these limitations while keeping our spiritual strength and our sense of purpose completely intact. The physical realities we're looking at today usually fall into three big buckets: feeling the effects of getting older, battling poor health, or living with a disability. And these are very real, very tangible struggles. We aren't talking about abstract ideas here. We're talking about things that dictate how you wake up in the morning, how you move around, and what you can actually get done in a day. When you're dealing with chronic pain, or maybe a sudden severe illness, or just that gradual, undeniable slowing down that comes with age, well, it slowly starts to chip away at your confidence. Your body simply doesn't do what it used to do or what you want it to do anymore. And acknowledging that harsh reality is absolutely the first crucial step in unpacking all of this today.
But here's the kicker. The physical struggle almost never stays just physical, does it? These limitations have a way of feeding a creeping, really insidious kind of emotional doubt. The source material points out something so relatable. These physical struggles can actually make a person feel uncertain of their own worth in Jehovah's eyes. That is a massive psychological shift. Because when our physical output drops, human nature makes us want to tie our personal values straight to our productivity. We start thinking, do I even matter anymore? We mistakenly equate our physical limits with spiritual inadequacy. Honestly, the heavy emotional weight of that uncertainty can be way more exhausting than the physical pain itself.
Which all culminates in this very quiet and sometimes truly desperate question: am I still useful to Jehovah? I really want us to pause on that for a second. It's a question that haunts so many people who are suffering through health trials or aging. When you just can't do the things you used to do, when your circumstances flip completely upside down, this core emotional question naturally bubbles right up to the surface. It comes from a really beautiful place, a deep desire to serve, crashing head-on into the harsh reality of our physical limits. If you've ever asked yourself this question in the quiet of the night, I want you to know that the material we're looking at today speaks directly and so beautifully to you. Now, what is really fascinating and incredibly validating is that we are absolutely not alone in this fear. Look at this. Thousands of years ago, the psalmist felt this exact same anxiety, writing in Psalm 71, "Do not abandon me when my strength fails." That fear of being left behind or tossed aside when our vitality fades, it's a deeply rooted, universal human experience. The writer of this psalm felt that exact same vulnerability, that total dread of what happens when the body just can't keep up with what the spirit wants to do. Knowing that this fear is laid out so honestly right there in the text, well, it's just incredibly comforting, isn't it? But thankfully, this story absolutely does not end in despair. Here is where we get to pivot from our human doubts straight into divine reassurance. Even with his very real fears about his failing strength, the psalmist had this rock-solid conviction about one fundamental truth: if he served his God loyally, Jehovah would guide and support him. That connection is everything. The psalmist understood that Jehovah's support wasn't somehow conditional on having perfect health or endless youthful energy. No, it was anchored in loyalty. And that unwavering conviction in God's loyalty is exactly what held the psalmist up when his own physical strength gave out. And that leads us straight into this amazingly powerful assurance found in Psalm 37:25. I have not seen anyone righteous abandoned. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. This isn't just some wishful thinking. It is a definitive, factual statement about Jehovah's historical track record. It completely cements his powerful promise of support. Think about it. Throughout all of history, the Creator has literally never abandoned his servants when their physical capacities diminished. The guarantee here is absolute. So when you're sitting there feeling totally isolated by what your body can't do, this text serves as concrete proof that you are deeply seen, highly valued, and thoroughly supported. This brings us to a brilliant perspective shift. Really, it's the core of our whole explainer today. On one side, you have the human viewpoint. This is where we focus entirely on our physical limitations, all the things we've lost, and our fading strength. It's a classic deficit-based mindset, right? We're always looking at the empty half of the glass. But contrast that directly against Jehovah's viewpoint. Look at what he focuses on. He finds pleasure in those who do their best to serve him despite their limitations. That is an asset-based mindset. He isn't sitting there with a clipboard tallying up what you can't do. He is looking straight at the loyalty and the immense effort behind what you can do. Making this shift changes absolutely everything about how we view our own worth. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's this. Jehovah finds pleasure in those who do their best. But here is the absolutely crucial part you need to remember. Your best is a moving target. Your best when you are perfectly healthy in your 20s is going to look vastly different than your best in your 80s or when you're managing a severe disability. And you know what? That is completely fine. Jehovah's expectations naturally adjust to our realities. He genuinely finds pleasure in whatever your best currently is. He sees the heart, the effort, and the deep love behind it. Your physical limitations do not shrink the value of your service in his eyes. Honestly, the sheer grit and perseverance it takes just to try makes your service even more precious to him. Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice and thrive spiritually today? Well, it breaks down into 3 actionable steps. First, you've got to intentionally work to see your situation from Jehovah's viewpoint. Remind yourself every single day that he values your loyal heart way more than your physical output. Second, allow him to help you thrive spiritually, even while you're struggling physically. The source makes it crystal clear. Spiritual thriving is entirely possible no matter your physical decline. Your body might be hitting a wall, but your spiritual growth, your prayers, your faith, those have absolutely zero boundaries. And third, actively shift your mindset from that deficit, focusing on what's lost, to an asset mentality, focusing on what you still possess. Doing that puts you right back in the driver's seat of your spiritual well-being. Which brings us to our final, incredibly empowering thought. Rather than focus on what you are no longer able to do, concentrate on what you can do. It sounds like such a simple sentence, but man, actually applying it takes profound courage and real faith. When you choose to pour your energy into your current capabilities, you aren't just honoring Jehovah, you're actively protecting your own emotional and spiritual health. You are still useful. You still have incredible value. Please, never let physical limitations convince you otherwise. So as you head into the week ahead, ask yourself, what is one small, beautiful thing I can do today with the strength I currently have? For more information, please visit jw.org, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press bell icon to get the notification for new video. Thanks.